African parents don't play around when it comes to education.
No, they don't play.
They don't care. They don't care how much talent you have on the football field or whatever you do. Degree must be finished. Because my daddy, I will never forget when one day I left and I left to practice. I didn't do my chores. That's when I saw my daddy's rap for the first time in his life. The first and last ever. The man walked up to the training pitch. He walked up to the training pitch and he called my name. And by the way he called my name,
you knew.
I knew what time was it. I'm like, coach, I'm out.
I gotta go, yo.
I said, nah. Time for me to bounce. It's not even discussion.
This is New Ground with Allen Hopkins Jr. Let's go. And Jalil Anibaba.
Joining us this week to cover New Ground. He just finished his second season as an assistant coach at Charlotte FC, and he is back in the head coaching seat this time with USL's Phoenix Rising FC. Joining us to cover New Ground this week, the newest head coach in USL, Pa-Modou Kah. Welcome to New Ground, Pa. So glad you could join us.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here, boys. How you guys doing?
We are doing fantastic. Jill and I have been just giddy and excited about having you on, and you're someone that we talk often about in such a positive way, and we'll get into those reasons why. But let's get into the big news. You're the new head coach with Phoenix Rising FC. You've been a head coach before. You've actually won a championship with Pacific FC back in 2021. Here you are again. Tell us and take us through that process and why you're excited about this new opportunity, this new project in Phoenix.
Oh man, I've always wanted to be a head coach, and for me it is a great opportunity for myself, to again to stand on my feet and take a challenge at one of the biggest clubs in USL, and for these past 2 years, I've learned a lot here in Charlotte, and I'm grateful for the opportunity that Charlotte have given me to able to showcase myself, for this opportunity that came by. And also under the leadership of Dean Smith this past year, he's allowed me to grow, and I've enjoyed it. And the relationship with the boys and the players, because they make this job desirable. They make this job, you love it because you're working with players. And for me, the biggest thing is how was I able to help players grow? And when I got this opportunity to also work with Dean Smith and the rest of the staff, was just a blessing. And now to able to stand on my feet and do what I love, which is, again, I love being pressure and I love being a head coach. And can I take what I've learned through my career and help the next generation of footballers, just not on the pitch, but also off the pitch as human being? Because I think sometimes that is looked past. We just look at the players, but sometimes we got to look at the human and look at them and ask them, can they make an impact in life in the different areas as well, just not as footballers?
I mean, that's how you've always gone about anything that you involve yourself in that has to do with football, is going to the people first. And then we could talk about the X's and O's later, but it's about, who are you? How do you tick? And how can I bring myself down on that level? But coaching is something that, when you're a player, you either see yourself as a coach when you're done or not. When did you know that coaching was something that you wanted to dedicate your life to?
I'll be honest. I had a coach, and I'll never forget that. It was like around 15 in Norway, and he wrote something to me that when I became a coach, he actually told me what he wrote. So he told me that he foresee me being a coach, but he never told me. Right. So, but for me, I played the game because I loved the game. And the game brought me to different cultures. I got to see the world through the game. But when I came here, when I was in Qatar, I started to develop that feeling. When I was in Qatar playing, retirement, I wouldn't call it retirement league, but it was great for me, last few dollars to pick, no shame about that,
That's right.
And
then, that bag.
And then you're like, and then you come back to, then you come to America, played in Portland, with great people: Donovan Ricketts, Footy Danso, Darlington Nagby, Ryan Johnson. So you form a Rodney Wallace. So you form a group, and and you're thinking about it, but you're not sure because the avenues are not there. You're thinking about it, but you always knew, all right, how much of an avenue will that be for somebody like me? That's just me being honest, because you look at all the great players that we had. I haven't seen many of our own kind in there, like minorities in those coaching roles. So you kind of just keep that in the back of your mind until I met Carl Robinson, who I played against national team Wales when we played Norway against Wales. Then, as he is the coach of Vancouver Whitecaps, we played against Portland and they beat us, and I will never forget. And a little bit of a riot broke out. And I wanted to fight him and his assistant. It's just one of those. I hate to lose. I hate to lose.
Was it
And
one
then,
thing they said, or was it a bunch of things they said?
nah, but like it was a little rivalry. When the rivalry is on,
Oh yeah.
and I remember this game, they beat us 4-3. But what I didn't like was they were celebrating on my pitch. And for me, that is, nah, that's a no. Like that's, and I was ticked off. So obviously, fast forward, I'm 2015, he called me. He's like, you know what? I want you to come here. And I was like, because you're unsure. You're like, how is he going to take it? But eventually we went. And he told me, one of the reasons why I want you here, because you wanted to fight me. So that means that you will fight for me. And
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
no,
Yeah.
he's a real one. Okay, Carl Robinson is a real one. And after that, I finished playing.
Hmm.
So we were having discussion with me in my house. He said, I want you to come back as a player coach. And in the beginning, I'm like, in the beginning, you're like, yeah, you want it, but you're unsure. So the first 6 months, I was just coming into terms, of
Right.
how do I transition into there. And gratefully, he had another assistant by the name Gordon Forrest, who took me under his
Yep.
wing. He took me on this wing, and because we were living not far away from each other, so we would drive. So there was just me the first 6 months, just understanding what is it to transition, because I think as a player sometimes we rush into going straight into being that coach, at the high level. But for me, it was my biggest thing was, and I told Robo, I'm like, I call him Robo because his name is Carl Robinson. It was like, I know what the first team is about,
Hmm.
but I wanted to dig deep into the youth, because after, for me, when I was done, my career was done. That's it. I'm not anymore the player. Now I need to start a new career. And for me, that means I need to go back again from the beginning.
Yeah.
I didn't
Yep.
want that. I didn't want that. Yeah, he played first team, therefore he can move. But I was with the first team from 6 o'clock in the morning, and I would then, from straight first team practice, I went straight down to the youth. So I'm telling you, that's why I give props to my wife, because
Mm,
why she didn't divorce me, big man. I'm the first couple of years, honestly, when I retired, I missed so many
mm.
times coming home late when she put the kids to bed. So that's why, like, going to this journey, when you're on an easy journey, it's always important to have somebody that have your back from day one.
Mm,
And
mm.
she had that, and she allowed me to go into pursue this coaching pathway, But all thanks goes to Carl Robinson and Gordon Forrest, because they helped me and they opened a door, which that's what we need. And that's the way it should be looked at. Somebody provided an opportunity and say, here's your opportunity. What are you going to do with it? And that's why I always believe when you're talking to people and they speak about experience. None of us are born with experience, but all we know for is an opportunity. I don't care who you are. You just need an opportunity to show what you're good at. And they did.
And you can hear the expression of gratitude there. Phoenix Rising FC head coach Pa Kah joining us. And Pa, your story, I say you're the most interesting man in American soccer. You
Yeah.
speak 7 languages. Like, let me speak on it real quick and correct me if I'm wrong. You speak 7 languages. You have a degree in building engineering, forced Norwegian, black Norwegian to play for the national team. You have all these experiences. And when you add that to your playing career, what have been the challenges for you to articulate who you are as a man, to have this capacity to lead, to coach, to operate, to strategize, and develop all the things that you need to do as a head coach, and particularly this time around it with Phoenix Rising FC?
Well, yeah, sometimes can that be looked at different because you have such a different background, right? And people can look at it as a good thing, people can look at it as a bad thing. But for me, is football is about uh, exactly experience, gaining experience. And I've gained experience for the past 36 years because since I was 8 years old, this is what I did. And in the meantime, I had to do my degree because my dad, and Jalil knows this.
Yep.
African parents don't play around when it comes to education. They
No, they
don't
don't
care. They
play.
don't care how much talent you have on the football field or whatever you do. Degree must be finished. Because my daddy, I will never forget when one day I left to practice. I didn't do my chores. That's when I saw my daddy's rap for the first time in his life, the first and last ever. The man walked up to the training pitch. He walked up to the training pitch and he called my name.
Mm,
And by the way he called my name, I
you
knew
knew.
what time was it. Like I'm like, coach, I'm out. The coach is no, no, I'll go to
I
and
gotta
nah.
go, yo.
I said nah. Time for me to bounce. It's not even discussion. And then the coach is like, no, 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 let me have a word with him. I said,
You making it
listen,
worse.
and yes, I'm like, you just leave it. He said, no, no, no. He went straight to my dad. My dad looked at him and said, is this your son? He said, no.
Mm.
And he goes, bro. He look at the man. And my dad is very quiet. He's not a guy that likes it. But that day is like, and he look at the guy. He said, listen, I didn't bring this kid all the way from Africa to skip his chores just to kick
Yep.
a ball.
Yep.
Because once he gets injured, what are you going to do for him?
Yep.
And that moment is like, that's why that moment he turned around into me and tell me, son, there's no such thing as a dumb footballer. So let's go. I was walking like the walk of shame home. Bro, I had to do all the choices at home and my homework. And after that was not a problem. Yeah, you can go back. But I look at the time, my training is finished. He said, then you know. You know how to prioritize, bro. Nah, it was, nah, it's that. So So for me, it's I'm always a man that is curious because the world is so massive. There's 7 billion people on the earth, and for me, it's always about learning cultures because I think once we understand cultures and we can break down those cultures, we are all alike. Regardless where you're from, you're always going to find somebody that shared a similar thought process of you, similar ways of values. So for me, it's always thinking that way and using that way, to better us. Because when you look at the ball, there's 32 stitches in the ball, like 32 forms of the ball. It ain't seen you. It doesn't care how you look like. It doesn't care where you're from. It doesn't care about anything.
Hmm.
Only thing is asking you, can you play?
Speak on it.
Can you play? Right? It doesn't care about anything else. That's all it is. 32 panels and a ladder. You put air to it. We can play. Right now, if we get a ball, the three of us, and we playing outside, a lot of other people will come join. That's just the reality of it. So for me, that's why when people talk about sports and life, it's matches. So when you have those unique experiences, sometimes it can be good, sometimes it's going to be bad, depending on the persons that maybe you're auditioning for or person that you want to work with. Because they can see that as a threat, thinking that you don't want to learn or if it makes sense. So for me, it's just being in the right position at the right time to be able to get those opportunities.
Yo, you speaking on it right now. You speaking on it. The listeners, if you just tapped in, you need to make sure you don't go anywhere. You don't change the channel right now because Pa is preaching. You talked a lot about ups and downs, maybe perceiving things in a good or bad way. And for you, one of the biggest things is protecting your players to make sure that their minds, their psyches, their hearts are clear when they step onto the field. And you have that big brother, that father, that uncle instinct to be able to do that with everybody around you. But we talk a lot about what the league was when we were playing in it, and
Uh-huh.
now what the league is now and what the USL is now. So, what are you most excited in terms of looking forward to be able to bring your experience to Phoenix, to be able to elevate a very storied club even higher and higher and higher?
I mean, I'm very excited because again, we talked about where the league was before. I remember, like when I first came into the league, like, there was 3 or 4 soccer specific stadiums. You know, and that's the reality of it. You will fly in a commercial, and if you're unlucky to sit in one of those middle seats for 5 hours straight, you in trouble. You in trouble, you know. And then you fast forward it 10, 11 years, and you see where the league is. You know, almost every stadium has their own stadium, the training facility. You know, and now before, when people tell you we're trading you to Columbus, like, it was dreadful. Now people tell you we traded you to Columbus, you already packed your bags, you're already on the way. You know,
Straight
and
up.
just to see the growth of the league from where it was to where it is now, and also with USL, for me, it's a great opportunity to showcase what I'm capable of, and maybe it's the right way for me to go before eventually, who knows, going through MLS or anywhere. But for me, I look at it as my next step. This is where also God wants me to be.
Amen.
He wants me to be there. So for me, I look at it as a great opportunity to even showcase more of who I am and more of what I want to see from my players, again, not only on the pitch, but also off the pitch. How can they help a community grow? How can they showcase who they are as human beings? Right? So when you ask me about the Big Brother protection, it's because I've been fortunate to go through that. I've been fortunate to go through a lot of things that when I was having. When you are the only black man in the one team, and you have 10 blondes coming out, and all of a sudden names calling, all of these people dropping, so you knew how to handle that adversity. So for me, it was already in the understanding that footballers are looked at differently. You are looked at as an athlete. People just look at us as purely athletes with no emotions, but we're going through the same troubles that a normal person is dealing with daily life. But we don't get to see it just because they've been now elevated to this stratosphere that we are inhumane, but we still human. So for me, it's always making sure that my players understood that, that they may elevate you here, but it takes half a mistakes and you back down as quickly as you went up. So it's always staying true to who you are and just making sure that regardless what you do it the right way. You know, that's why I always make sure that I'm on my players, because nowadays, we were just discussing before I came in. I didn't even know how the technology was working. I had zero clue of what things are working. I didn't know how to get onto the show. I really didn't. I didn't know because, but you know what I mean. So the technology is so far ahead now. Like people who doesn't even know you has an opinion about you.
Right.
You,
Right.
you see people telling all this stuff from a clicker. That's not, we live in that world. So for me, it's like, how do you still protect yourself from that? You still want to show the world, but you still got to protect yourself, because what those people are saying about you, it shouldn't matter. Again, like I say, it's 7 billion people in the world. Ain't nobody go like me. Nobody go care about. You know what I mean? So I try to teach them also about life, because once they're done playing, ain't nobody go look at them as players. Now you're a normal human being. So then how do you go about life?
You mentioned the opportunity and how small the black soccer community is. And next year, there'll be 5 black coaches in USL Championship. Gavin Glinton in Oakland, my guy, Luke Spencer, Jordan Stewart, Cano Smith, whose team is in the final, and yourself. And if you add that into, and we talked about this at the top of the show, what a run it's been for black coaches. Wilfred Nancy, coach of the year in Major League Soccer. Tyrone Marshall, MLS Next Pro, head coach of the year. Seb Hines, NWSL, head coach of the year. We just mentioned Kano. What does that mean to you to be part of that community that clearly is surging and clearly making the most of these incredible limiting opportunities to be a head coach in this league?
Nah, I mean the growth is wonderful. Again, Wilfred, top notch. Able to win MLS Cup in his first season as a head coach for Columbus, massive. You look at. I think the ties are changing. And now coach of the year, the ties are changing. Also, what I do believe in, for me, you take away a little bit the race away, right? You look at it, and go, okay, and I spoke it to you, opportunity. You give any human being an opportunity, they will rise to the opportunity. And the people that are given the opportunity, they are rising to that opportunity. Because the notion of maybe that we could only play and not lead,
Right.
that's something that people, that is a little narrative created, because mostly black athletes or any athletes could only play the game, and once the game was done, there's nothing else they could do. But there's new times. We the new generation pushing forward, and we have to lead in a way that people understand that there's more of us who are capable of doing those roles. But it also is about an opportunity given so that people can see that they can do it. You look at the Columbus Crew with Bezbashenko. People that are working with him has worked for him for many years. So for him to go and get a black coach and then now a general manager, that is a testament to Columbus Crew and their owners and their forward thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Same
Mm-hmm.
with Kano being the general manager and the head coach, and look what he's doing. Tyrone Marshall, you give it an opportunity, look what he's doing. So for us also, it's not about we're not given an opportunity, because there may have been people in front of us before who were given opportunity but didn't showcase the best for us to move forward. So while we also have this opportunity, we must take it, grab it, and make sure that it's not only for us at that moment. We have other people behind us that are coming up that also they need to see that there's a role models that are doing this the right way.
Right.
you know and it's easy to say, ah, we're not getting enough job, but maybe you look at yourself and go, all right, am I doing everything in my power to make sure that I'm ready when the opportunity arises? And the other part,
Mm-hmm.
we don't have people sitting in those seats to make
Yes.
those decisions, which is a very important factor. We don't have people like yourself right now. You're going to be sitting in Brentford. That's unique. That's unheard of. Right? Those are the places that we need to start with. You being there, able to explain to people about the process, right? Where I can call you and ask you, oh, how do they think? And you give me ideas, which
Yes.
also helps me, because when I'm also in those rooms, that will help me. That's where the advantage and the disadvantage are.
Right.
Most of the time, we're not in those rooms, so we don't get to hear or see what the talks look like and the narratives.
Pa, tell me something. When you talk about your responsibility to make sure that you put your best foot forward, no pun intended, and represent yourself at the extremely highest level so that any potential future black coaches that are coming in after you, maybe, just maybe, they have an easier road than you. But I would like to think where a lot of your representation comes from is so that your kids have it a little bit easier than you as well. My experience in seeing those types of attitudes
Mhm.
come from a lot of my African side, especially my dad first and foremost, and then his just overall viewpoint on immigrating to this country and always making sure that you don't perpetuate stereotypes, making
Mm,
sure that you don't represent yourself. What
no.
represent yourself? What do you mean? You represent the family name. So
Exactly.
if you go out and you go do something
Hey,
good, bad, or whatever, that is not Jalil Anibaba that's doing it. That's Jamal Anibaba. That's
uh-huh.
Lane Anibaba. That's Jamil Anibaba. That's everybody.
Not,
So
and they let you know,
my
eh? They let you
they'll
know, eh?
let you know. Talk to us about your family's immigration experience to Norway and how the family would speak power into you guys, to whether they're either sending you off to school or whatever, is, hey, make sure you remember the son and the mother of who you are. They'll tell you straight up.
Right. Nah, listen. The man is giving me like the man is giving deja vu. I mean, listen. Just that's what I always tell people. Phantom this. At 8 years old, I'm running in Africa, barefooted, playing in the sun, enjoying my life. The next moment, I'm coming out of an airplane, and the white things are falling, and it's touching my hand, and it turns into water, which is snow. I look at this like, and I'm on the plane, I'll never forget. I'm on the plane to Germany because that's where I had to lay over from Gambia. Luckily, my mother works for Maersk Line, that the shipping company. So the director was a Danish guy. So he brought these clothes for me, and I was like, I look at my mom, I say, and my mom go, hey, you don't go Europe, you need these clothes, and I'm like, I say, I look like a puffy guy in all these clothes, But when I landed, I knew why. But I landed February. I'll never forget this.
February, yay! February. Which one,
February.
What?
February. People talk about mental health. Can you imagine? You do not get to see the sun from morning. You don't see sun. It's completely dark.
Whoa.
Bro, I look at my father, and I'm like, I can't say nothing, because this guy brought me here. But after a week, I go, Daddy, all the choices you had, why? No way. I was like, because now that's the thing, because my dad went to know because of football. So he got, people scouted him. But for me, it was like, snow. Guys, I'm telling you, for an African who never seen the snow, can you comprehend that contrast? Where you are used to sun from the day you were born, and all of a sudden you standing in February, you land at the airport, and white things are falling. I went to my mom. I said, "Wow!" I said that. Wow! I said, "Wow! Look at what is falling in." I was in a different universe. Really, I was. But then again, to your point, you get home, and the real talk start. You say, "Hey, you're not here on vacation, huh?" Right? You're here for a reason. No. You're here for a reason and a purpose, right? And for my father, it was very clear. It was like my purpose was, I want to give my son an opportunity to a better life, and also opportunity for him to have a degree. Football was never in the picture, but he signed me up to the team that he was playing for. But football, to start with, was not in the picture. For me, it was school. Yeah, you're carrying a name, and this name in Gambia was a well-known name. So was my mom, because she played for the national team basketball, and my dad played for football. So there was already pressure, right? Not pressure like today's generation, but there was a pressure. There was a pressure of, you have a name to carry, and you have the accountability from early on. You have the responsibility, and you have to strive for that excellence, because you're like, those two people have done it before. But what I love the most about my dad and Steel is, the biggest thing that he told me was, follow your purpose and your path. Those were the two things: follow your purpose and follow your path, and whatever you do, commit 100% to it. He gave me four keywords, which was commitment, accountability, responsibility, and excellence. And then you look at those 4 words translate into care. So for him, that was it. Whatever you do in your life, put care to it. Because at the end of the day, the name you carrying, the forefathers, everybody, they put care to it. So you're not going to be the useless man that's going to destroy it. And that's what his clear words. It's not even joke. That's what they speak to you. He's telling you straight. He say, if somebody come knock on my door because you, with your foolishness or all this nonsenseness,
Mm-hmm.
And he had only one trick: I'll send you back to Africa. And as a kid, nah. As a kid, you're like, nah. You're like, as a kid, because you get to enjoy the sweet life, a little bit of Europe, different. Now summer is coming. You seeing, oh, there's a different side to Europe. And after you're like, the going back part to Africa, that we might reconsider. So let's sit tight and make sure the family name, is well intact. So, but that being said, no, he just let me be me. But if I was to go out of line, yeah, he would have. And my grandfather, I must give thanks to my grandfather too, because he played a lot part with me growing up. He played a lot of part.
That's
You
amazing.
know,
Allen, Pa out there saying, yo, maybe this snow ain't that bad.
nah, bro. Listen, after that, it's impossible. No, I'm telling you guys, if you see me, if I go anywhere and there's snow, believe it or not, I'm putting my shorts on and I'm diving into the snow.
Yep.
It's incredible how, and that's what I say, like the cultures, the different parts that you mean, right? That's what I say. A kid from Africa, Gambia, one of the smallest country in West Africa, played for Norway, the first one, played in 3 continents, becoming the first Gambian coach to ever win. I could not phantom this, to be honest. I could not phantom this. But given also the struggles that I went through, understanding what people went through, that's why when people ask me, I say I'm blessed. That's why for me, when we talk about us as a whole, as people and the people around the world, I've seen so many different cultures. I see people. I don't see color. I see people, and I know it
Yep.
exists in our world. It exists. Who are we trying to kid? It exists. But the more that we are more human, and the more that we are with one another, the difference that we're gonna see, that there's not much difference between us.
What a powerful way to end our time with Pa. And I'm so excited for your venture in Phoenix. Phoenix got a great one, and we're looking forward to you restoring that championship club back to their expectations. And you have a good setup there, as you know. Otherwise, I'm sure you wouldn't have considered the opportunity. But you blessed us and you put us on so much wonderful just energy today. And Jalil and I are thankful for you to stop on by, and we're going to have you back to chop it up a little bit more. We love talking about our family's influence on our lives, and you articulated just a wonderful story. And happy for your wife, who's been your ride or die with you, just a wonderful
Also,
person, your family, your kids.
yeah.
Best of luck in Phoenix, and we just appreciate everything you're doing, Pa, and best of luck to you down the road.
No, thank you. It was great being on the show, boys. Keep doing what you guys are doing. I really love it.